So, Battlefield 6 has finally released, and you're wondering if there's a few ways you can improve your gameplay and better help your team. If you're a new player or if you're just returning to the series and need to shake off the rust, I have 6 tips that can make you a better Battlefield player. To get straight into it, my first piece of advice is to always check your minimap and to utilise pre-firing. In Battlefield 6, enemy players will be displayed on the minimap when firing an unsuppressed weapon, or when spotted by a teammate or by a gadget. This makes checking your minimap essential as it gives you a perfect idea of where the enemy is, and makes spotting an exceptionally valuable skill. Using this information, you can then pre-fire around corners, meaning if you're aware an enemy is around a corner, either you saw them or they're spotted on the minimap, you turn the corner and start firing early as you sweep around to give you a head start in an engagement. It's a small adjustment, but most people will sprint towards corners. If you go carefully around a corner and pre-fire or even begin to ADS as you hit the corner, you'll get a real head start in that engagement. My second tip relates to weapon customization. In Battlefield 6 we have access to advanced weapon stats that allow us to see how each attachment affects the function of the weapon. Now this may seem obvious from the description of each attachment, but it's important to consider how much of an impact each attachment actually makes. For instance, there was a few foregrips that essentially do the same thing in improving accuracy and control. However, some feature more of an improvement to those stats than others do, and therefore have a greater penalty of mobility and cost more, while others have less an improvement to accuracy, but offer no penalty to mobility and cost less. Each attachment in Battlefield 6 comes with a cost of either 5 to 20 for some of the higher and better, more usable attachments, and you have a total score of 100, so it's up to you to balance between that line. If you can get to 100 and don't end up skewing your weapon too much, go for it. Overall, you should aim to improve a weapon's weaknesses and mitigate the losses to its strengths. I will have another video releasing shortly to go deeper into the exact figures for weapon customization, so look forward to that one. My third tip is to use class and specialists for their intended purpose. Of course, the classes and specialists aren't so specific that you can't use them in any situation. An assault player can still be effective against vehicles using the right equipment, but the assault is designed to be a breaching, charging in class that can take an objective by destroying walls or taking out enemies, rather than go hunting for tanks. Hunting for tanks is the role designed for the engineer class, especially if you're using the anti-armor training path. Similarly, if you're a support player, part of your role is to revive your teammates and keep players alive. The more likely you are to do that, the more likely players are to return the favour. This ties directly into my next piece of advice. Use smoke to cover revives and when pushing towards an objective. Of course you can still be killed through smoke, and it does block your view of the enemy, but it's a much safer way than running out into the open to revive a teammate where you're just going to get killed in the same way they were. Especially now that we have the drag to revive mechanic in Battlefield 6, you can safely pop a smoke using either the smoke grenade or the smoke grenade launcher and then drag your teammates to safety. And if you're playing as a support class and you have the defibrillator equipped, you can hold down the trigger to charge the defibrillator and revive your teammate with 100% health. A little bit more on squad play. It is best to stick with your squad and to utilise squad leader and commander orders. In Battlefield, you are typically one of 32 players in a team, and therefore if you decide to go it alone, the odds aren't in your favour. However, squad leaders can set objectives to defend or attack, and if those orders are complete, you will earn bonus points for the squad and improve specialist progression, as playing the objective and helping squad mates will earn points towards each tier. There is also an AI commander in Battlefield 6 that will assign you an objective to attack or defend and will point you towards that direction on the minimap. If you and your squad mates follow this and you stick together, you'll be more effective sticking as a squad and following the orders set by the commander or the squad leader, or if you are the squad leader, set by yourself. That way you'll always have squad mates back and they'll always have yours, and if they don't, you can always change squads mid-game to be a more effective squad. My final piece of advice is something that any veteran Battlefield player will be well aware of, but I have seen it happen a few times already. When you're in a vehicle, especially a tank or an IFV, never leave if somebody is pestering you around the tank. If there is a player running around the tank pestering you, or if you're at low health and want to get out before it blows up, you're better off either going down with the ship or retreating. If you consider that both teams can have 2 main battle tanks and 2 IFVs, all of a sudden if your tank is stolen, that gives them 3 main battle tanks compared to your 1. Simply having 1 more tank or 1 more IFV can make a huge difference to any battle. The only counter to doing this is the Mechanized Infantry Signature trait for the Engineer class. This essentially prevents or blocks any players from entering a vehicle once all the team have left. So unless that is active, you're always better off either retreating or going down with the tank. So, is there any more advice that we'd have for Battlefield players new and old? Is there anything new in Battlefield 6 that you don't think most players are aware of, or anything that you've noticed you want to talk about? Please share those down below in the comments. I hope you enjoyed. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.